When I first started working to get fit, I was 215 pounds, and at 5 feet 8 inches tall, that's a lot of weight. It was not easy finding size 40-30 jeans, and it was equally tough trying to learn to run. My feet hurt, I got shin splints, my back ached, and I literally couldn't run longer than the length of one house lot at a time. And I wish I could say that it got easier quickly, but it didn't. I battled injuries, didn't make progress, and didn't really enjoy running much for 2 years because the advice that was out there for us overweight runners is really generic and rarely written by people who know what it's like to run when you're overweight themselves. Thankfully, after a couple of years, I figured out some things that didn't just make running more enjoyable, but I got pretty decent at it too. I eventually lost over 60 pounds, ran a 19-minute 5K, a 1:28 half marathon, and a 3-hour 24-minute marathon at the end of an Ironman. You can use the methods that I use to learn to run well too, and we'll get you started here. What's up, motivators? My name is Taryn. When ordinary people want to accomplish something extraordinary in endurance sports, they choose unlimited motive training plans for as low as $14.99 a month. You're ready to take on that next big endurance challenge? Let's do it. First up, when you're getting started, you have to get the right gear. For us overweight runners, that means getting the right shoes. The traditional advice is go to a running shoe store and get a pair of shoes recommended for you, or get really built up squishy shoes. The problem with this advice is that shoe stores tend to overprescribe motion control shoes, overpronation shoes, and stability shoes for new runners. These shoes have been proven to increase the likelihood of injuries for new runners. And the big squishy built up shoes can do the same too. Because we have more weight, it's critical for overweight runners to get the right shoes. So instead of those two shoes that are commonly prescribed, when you're starting out running, your leg needs to move in more of a natural range of motion. And to do this, you need a shoe that is much less structured and not as cushioned as you think. The sweet spot is a 7.5 to 10 ounce shoe with 6 millimeters or less of heel to toe drop, and often a shoe that is fairly neutral. The best way to find the right shoe for you is to use those parameters and go into a running shoe store. Well, they'll know what those parameters will mean. They'll get you some shoes to try on and try them on at a store that has a treadmill where you can run on it. Try a bunch of shoes and select the one that just feels the most comfortable. As opposed to getting one that is specifically recommended as an overpronation shoe or a motion control shoe, like what most shoe stores will do, just get the one that feels the best. And that has actually been shown to be the best shoe for most people. This process will allow your lower leg to develop the strength that it needs to run well without fighting the dynamics of the shoe. Next, advice that we actually do like is to start with a run-walk program and be willing to dedicate 3 months to this. Now, you might think that 3 months is a really long time, but I've been running for 12 years, and after just a recent 3-week layoff from running due to surgery, I did run walk for 6 weeks. If I can do that now, you can do it when you're just learning. There's a link in the description below to a blog post on our website with the Learn to Run training plan on it that we recommend. We recommend some improvements from a typical run, walk, learn to run program. First, try to dedicate time for 4 20 to 40-minute workouts a week. Next, 2 of those workouts should be the usual run-walk build where you start by running, say, 30 seconds and then walking 2 minutes. Week by week, you add seconds to the running and take seconds away from the walking. Here's where we recommend changes from typical run-walk programs. The third workout you should do each week is an intense hike. Just a hard, steady, continuous walk on trails, getting the body used to working somewhat hard for a prolonged period of time will build up endurance. And we'll talk more about trails specifically in a second. Finally, the last workout should be an intense wind sprint workout where you're going 5 to 15 seconds really fast with a full 2 to 4 minute walk or easy jog rest in between. This will teach your body to move fast so that when you build up to being able to run continuously, you aren't just a single speed athlete like what most run walk programs develop. The next thing we recommend is to strength train once per week. It doesn't have to be long and it doesn't have to be super intense. Just 30 minutes of light strength exercise per week is plenty for runners. Strength is really critical to build up when you're learning to run as an overweight athlete, because there's more mass pulling you over to the side, causing instability, which can create pain when running or chronic injuries over time. My very first half marathon was excruciating. My lower back was in a huge amount of pain for the entire final half of the race where I had to walk. I fixed that by adding strength training that worked mostly on my core and stabilizer muscles. I'll link to a video at the end of this video with the best strength exercises for runners that you can use. Fourth, run trails as much as possible. This study found that the more trails you run, the lower your likelihood of injury. And preventing injury is one of the most, if not the most important thing to manage for overweight runners. Trail running is also a more efficient way to run. You just get a better workout because instead of moving in one range of motion, you have to run in many different ranges of motion, which makes you stronger and a more balanced overall runner. We actually indicate in all our run training plans that long runs be done on trails as much as possible to get our athletes more bang for their buck out of their long runs. We do so because there's evidence out there that you can become a much better runner with as much as 45% less training time by spending more time on trails and hills. It's also a soft surface, so for overweight runners, it's going to take a little bit of that load of the pounding of running exclusively on concrete off the body by getting on that soft surface. Finally, it's going to be hard, and that's normal. Low motivation is common to all athletes, even world champions that I've met over the years, but it's especially common for us overweight runners. I remember feeling like my progress running or my weight loss was just really slow, and I remember not feeling like I fit into the community. It all made it hard to want to get out the door and go for a run. Here are some tricks to overcome that. First, enter a race. I know it might sound crazy at this moment, but trust me, if you just put a race on the calendar, you're going to get a little scared, and that fear will motivate you. And if you need a training plan for that race, I know a good place to find one. Next, don't just enter that race, tell your friends that you're entering that race. This is going to take some guts, but everything that's an important big change takes guts, and your friends will be happy for you. Telling them will also make you accountable to them, and it'll make it almost certain that you will keep training and follow through with the race. Finally, join a run group. Our app allows people to connect with other people who use Motive training plans all around the world because that social connection is so much more likely to make the training plan stick. But it doesn't have to be in our app. An in-person run group is even better because you'll be much more likely to show up for your runs if you don't feel like you want the group to miss you. Trust me, this one really works. My run started improving immensely when I found a group to run with because I made every single workout. These might sound like very basic tips, but for people wanting to make a significant change, having the basics set up as a foundation to build upon with some structure around all those basics that encourages those basics to happen over and over again will make the biggest difference in you achieving your goals. It might not feel like it just yet, but you're ready to take on that next big event or that first big endurance race goal that you want to accomplish. And if you need some help when you train with Motive, you'll be ready on race day. Check out Motive. It is the only app in the world with training plans designed specifically for ordinary people who want to accomplish something extraordinary in endurance sports, and you can start by trying it for free. Finally, click the video on the screen. I mentioned a video with the best strength training exercises for runners. This video explains the worst strength training exercises for runners and better alternatives that will make runners much more stable and successful. Later, motivators.